What's one thing you're always willing to pay the extra price for? A good plumber. Water damage freaking sucks. Last guy I had around took my coins, disappeared down the pipe and was never seen again. Next time we'll go with a known firm, not some low rent family outfit. Crafts and tradesmen in general. Edit. Added tradesman. I thought craftsman was the name for that field of work. Currently sitting in the airport for an egregiously complicated overnight layover. All to save zero. Why complicated? TSA pre-check. Skip the long TSA lines. 5 and good for 5 years. Motorcycle helmets. You don't need the most expensive helmet, but you should pay what it takes to get something with a decent certification. Snell, EASE, FIM, and not just DOT. Some technologies like MIPS are also well worth the extra spend. Maybe. Everyone made fun of me when I got my showy helmet because of the cost and them saying I don't need it and that I was paying for equipment that was made for racing. Sure enough, a lady pulled out in front of me and I ended up in her back seat. Helmet saved my brain from going mashed potatoes. All my friends have showy helmets now. And good leathers. Work boots. Footwear in general is comfortable and has a good, grippy sole. Anything I'll use for years. Like computer or clothes. A good mattress. Like computer, it's not obvious. If you buy a nice computer, like a gaming computer, and you buy a separate monitor for it, go the extra mile and get a good monitor. Why? You may replace your computer every couple years, or even after 5-6 years, especially if it's a really nice one. I paid as much for my current monitor as the entire gaming computer behind it. My mom still uses a 40-inch TV I bought over a decade ago and that thing has 0 dead pixels. Toshiba. Toilet paper. Nothing worse than cheap toilet paper. Cheap toilet paper lets you get in touch with your inner self. Take it to the next level with a bidet. Direct flights instead of cheaper ones with layovers. Stops. Why take a 90-minute flight when you can save 0 and make it an all-day adventure? I will say there are some exceptions. For example, I booked a one-way from Denver to San Salvador, intending to fly home in northern Mexico. 400. I had a red-eye from Denver to featuring Lauderdale and then an 8-hour layover before my next leg to San Salvador on Spirit. Not the most comfortable sleeping in the airport but manageable. The option was flying United via Houston but it was an absurd 600 for a one-way ticket. That being said, especially with international flights, I live in Mexico. The national cinema chain, Cinépolis, often has 2 whole movie houses in each location. One is your standard, run-of-the-mill movie theater with 30 rows of stadium seating, while the other theater is Cinépolis VIP, which features reclining leather seats, USB charging ports, heated seats, around 30 seats total, and table service, food and alcohol. Reminds me of Alamo Drafthouse cinemas in the USA, but these are nicer in my opinion. Husband and I always pay the extra pesos for the VIP theater for comfort. Plus there are rarely issues with other patrons who also pay for the VIP theater. Quiet people who really want to see the movie and won't be chatting or constantly getting out of their seats through the entire movie. The price difference between the 2 theaters really isn't that much, so it's a small thing we always pay for. How much is it? Both. Curious comparing it with Germany. I feel like I would encourage people to be checking their phones. No, movers. Having them put your furniture in a truck, drive it to your location and put it in your new place. It's great not having a sore back when it's stressful enough to move. Oh yes, definitely. I moved to a building, 7th floor, no elevator. Told my girlfriend I am not moving by myself. So we got a van and 2 movers. All we had to do is be there. I helped of course with the carrying, but within an hour we were done. Everything was in our apartment. Gave them a super nice tip which they loved and I felt good afterwards knowing I didn't have to break my back or worry about 5-6 trips myself. One time I had to move for work so the job paid for it. It was amazing. They wrapped everything in the special paper. Even some ketchup and soy sauce packets I forgot to throw away. Headphones. Never going back to anything cheap. I got Sony WH-1000XM4 and discovered I like music a lot. My sister was blown away when she tried out my setup by how nice the sound was. My headphones, although perfectly fit my needs. My sister has been using the earbuds that came with her phone for a long time and she never knew what she was missing out on. Good pots and pans. Like real heavy duty stuff. I've got some pretty decent stainless steel, but by far my favorites are always Mila Crusade stuff. I only have 4 pieces and I always found them on sale. I just make jambalaya in my Dutch oven last night. She was tasty. To add to this cooking wise, good knives. For me the trick was to start reasonably cheap to figure out what I actually use, and then replace with higher quality items. I rarely use a frying pan, but use my baking trays every day. But the key difference for me is how much easier high quality cooking equipment is to clean. My niece just turned 18. Said she was going to get a tattoo tomorrow. I said really? Where? She said she didn't know. Anywhere she could get it done that same day. I say pretty much anywhere you go where you can get the tattoo you want the same day isn't going to give you one you'll be really happy with. She says she doesn't care, just really wants one. I say you'll have it forever, what's a few days? Then I said I'll tell you what. Why don't you look through the tons of artists in the city's books and find one whose work you really love. I'll take you. And I'll even pay for you to get it as a birthday present. Then she said no, that's fine, she's already waited long enough. Face with rolling eyes. Guess who has a mediocre tattoo of a very standard design on her forearm now? Have a friend who wanted to get ladybug tats in a few places on her body. She went to a friend of a friend who gave her a discount. Now all her ladybug tats look like cancerous growths. And happy to pay through the nose for a really good bra. The difference it can make to my day is worth every penny. Bra, that fits, and are big boob problems for any others out there. Can I just add? A stretchy, comfy, compressing, shapeless sports bra that is not crossed over or a surback can be miles more comfortable than the most expensive, well-fitting wired bra. As a 10G, 32G, I suffered for close to a decade with dozens of excessively expensive, expertly fitted, brand name bras. Ditching the cups and wires for something flexible and supportive was life-changing. My mum does this too. She has huge tits as well. Hobby supplies every hobby realize their potential particularly quickly and lose interest. However, if you buy rent quality mid-tier stuff to start out, you end up with a much better experience overall and progress much faster and get a truer reflection of the hobby. This is true for musical instruments, archery, longboarding, sailing, fishing, painting, brewing, gaming. The thing is, there is a reason for that. Most people flake out of their hobbies fast, or go through a bunch finding one they love. Chances are if you try it with the $80 Mickey Mouse kit and don't fall in love, you're not gonna. My wife wanted to get into painting and had this same idea. Skip the garbage and go right to professional paints and a $600 French aisle. In all, a few grand in. The only upside I suppose is the professional stuff held its value a little when we wiped off the dust and resold it. Good ice cream. I actually have an ice cream machine. Holy crap, making it homemade is so good, and you can make any flavor you want. Electronics. Or £100 extra to last years longer because the processor can keep up for much longer or the device is supported for longer, whatever it may be. Tools. If you are earning a living with them, you want something totally reliable and is not going to break and work properly every time. They say a cheap man pays twice as much in the long run. I bought up a set of Ryobi power tools for work and for DIY at home. They are pretty good, but when I was on site and found the batteries take 3 hours to charge, I don't have that kind of time. Also, the hammer drill didn't always hammer. I'm a Milwaukee boy now and I am completely satisfied. TLDR. Always buy the best that you can afford. When it breaks, then go buy a good one. Running shoes. If you serious about running, pay for best shoe because your knee's going to thank you. What brands and what price would you consider the best? Sushi. I quit sushi for over a year because I got food poisoning from bad sushi. The night of, my stomach felt weird but nothing crazy. There was no urge or indication I had to go. I just started shooting in the same way my heart beats. An uncontrollable autonomous bodily function. No respite. No warnings. Just shooting. I once had sushi in the Bahamas. It was so good that I now think eating it was a mistake. I've been chasing that dragon ever since. No other sushi compares. A haircut. Might depend on your hair. As a dude with regular hair, the cheap Iranian dude around the corner cuts it absolutely fine. Went to a barber who was more than twice as expensive a while ago and it was not better. I just cut my own hair now. But typically my hair looks fine. I got tired of people fricking up my curly hair. I did some research. bought a decent set of clippers, and hacked away. It actually ended up not being half bad, but then I got better. Cutting my own hair also really came in handy when COVID struck and closed down all the salons and barber shops in California for a year. I was always well groomed throughout lockdown. Maple syrup. We get our maple syrup from a World War II veteran in his mid-90s. He taps maple trees in the hearts of everyone who knows him. He lives in a small cabin on the way to my lake house, in the rural north. He is known among people as the best maple syrup guy. It's his passion in life, to cultivate maple syrup and maple products. He's been doing it since the 1950s. Last time I was there he'd recently had a quadruple bypass. Showed us the scar. He was like, I thought I was a goner, but I guess it wasn't my time yet. He's also refused to be a sellout, and does it for love. It is expensive, but still about 1/2 of the cost of buying pure maple from a specialty store. He also has a box where, if he's not around, you can just take the product and leave cash or a check, and trusts people not to rip him off. That was a tangent, but he is so cool I couldn't help it. Nah dude, if you are Canadian go to Homesons or Winners. Maple syrup on discount and quality is top tier. My glasses. I have one lens that's Coke bottle in size, and if I don't go for basically all of the features and a good frame they're going to be uncomfortable as frick for the 2 years until my insurance helps pay for another pair. Work shoes and bed. When you're not in one you're in the other. Uncomfortable sleep and or uncomfortable feet can make for a long grilling day.